Hello, people. Oh, we can. Hello, people of the internet and people of the room. Welcome back to another edition of Show and Tell. This week, Amy Ruppel is here. Let's give it up. All right, cool. And I think it's going to be a special week because Jason Sturgill's in the front seat. Normally he's in the back seat, so I think this bodes well. He's psyched, I can tell. A few real fast announcements. Liz is looking for people to sign up for Friendtorship, and all you have to do it, there's some roof raising going on in the front row here. So anybody, do you want to give a quick testimonial? Some people love to wax on Friendtorship. Okay, cool.
So I'm a sophomore in the program, and I joined Friendtorship this term. And it's a lot of fun because on Mondays we go over other stuff in the program. So like upperclassmen will help lowerclassmen with portfolio review, which is really nice. It's a big bonus. And then on Wednesday, kids from an alternative school come in and we work on art projects and just kind of like build a community. And it's a lot of fun to be like part of their development and see like what they want to do with their lives and talk to them about going to college and stuff. So if you're free on Mondays and Wednesdays at noon until 3, then you should join.
Cool. That was wonderful. Thank you. So yeah, all you have to do to sign up for that is email Liz Charman. Her email is charman@pdx.edu, and she will get you in there. There's also some really cool posters that just went up all over the place that have that info on it as well. And then the other announcement is to check out our program website if you haven't in a while, PSUGD. So there's a lot of internship opportunities that have been added on there recently. And there's also a call for entries for a show at the Littman and White Gallery on campus over in Smith. And all the details for that are on there as well. So check that out from time to time. They keep it updated with stuff that you want to know about. And anything else? Anyone got anything going on they need to promote? No? Okay, cool. Well, let's just get started then and introduce our guest. Amy Ruppel, not Ruppel, is an artist, illustrator, and printmaker who loves to hike and play her vintage Ludwig drum kit between projects. She prefers being surrounded by nature and birds and mid-century goodness. Amy has been working with great clients, big and small, since 2000. From spot illustrations to window displays at major art museums, she loves a challenge. And even though she loves a challenge, we should try to not be a challenge for her. But let's welcome Amy.
Hello. Nice to be here. Good to see Jason, bandmate, sitting right up front. Hope you're having a good day. I brought some things. I've got business cards, of course, but I made some little prints at the last minute and signed them. And my portfolio's back there. And the latest sketchbook I'm almost filled up on is sitting there too. So feel free to page through, look through, all that good stuff. So I heard you guys like animated GIFs, but I have these old animations I made long ago that I think you would get a nice little laugh out of, so I thought I'd play that. That's how you make friends. All right. Okay. There's more of those on my Vimeo page if anyone's really that interested here. Okay. Let's get started, shall we? this is how we do it. Yes. Okay, you all know why you're here. We can move on. Okay, I'm basically just going to talk about being a freelance illustrator. And I don't know how many people in here are on the illustration path. Show of hands, a few of you. Designers, you may need to draw sometime. So maybe this will apply to you. But finding balance in life, work, social, and passions, your passions. Life and social is separate, because life to me is like going to the grocery store, paying your bills, all that stuff, feeding the cat. Social you gotta do with friends and such. Finding the balance between all of these things is very important, and it's taken a long time. I've been freelancing since 2000, and I'm still figuring it out, but discipline is very important, and you learn it over time. But your work and passions go hand in hand. Speaking as an illustrator, I want to keep my work fun, so I try to find other things to do with my time that are going to fuel that drive to be more clever and just come up with something really good every time. Like I take wood carving classes. I print on fabric. I'm back in printmaking. I do all sorts of things to fuel that. And yeah. I have little notes here. Okay. Let's see. Finding the time. There's always time. It's all about how you manage that time and what your priorities are. The first thing I do every morning is make a list, and not on the computer, on a piece of paper. I don't know, that tactile thing of writing really sets it in your brain and you get it done. That's like my #1 tip right there. And I hear this a lot about freelancing. People always say, I could never freelance because I don't have the self-discipline. But when you have a rent or mortgage payment coming up, you find the discipline and the determination will follow, and that backs it right up. All right. Nature. Trees. I have Shinjuku on there, which I will get into. This is a big part of how I find my balance. I'm hugely into nature, which is apparent in my subject matter of everything I draw, basically, on my own and for clients. And I think they're starting to see that too, because that's all I get hired for now. But that's just fine with me. You need to get out and into nature. It really does refuel your spirit. And and it's a sort of reset button for your life, basically. It clears your mind. I was doing a little tiny bit of research on this. It says just 10 minutes of nature exposure refocuses your mind, improves your clarity and focus, and it relieves stress. So maybe everyone should just study outside the trees. That's what I'm thinking. Shinjuku is a Japanese term. It's called medicinal forest bathing. Like you just walk under trees, and it's something I believe in, but just being out in nature cleanses that. And I just wanted to share that little tidbit with you if you want to look it up, because I think it's very interesting. I go to the Gorge as often as I can to watch the sunrise. It's really not that far away, but I also live in outer southeast Portland, so it's a little easier for me. Plus, I'm an early bird, so it helps. But this is not a bad way to start your day at all. I do love it. And when I'm out hiking, I'm really trying to focus on not focusing on work at all. And I just really can't stress that enough, to just take that time for yourself. And even if you can't get out in nature, just walk around here. You're the park blocks, you know, there's something there, as long as you don't too much panhandling and such, but it's not so terrible. Okay, where to start? As an illustrator, yeah. I have a degree in college in printmaking and not in illustration. And illustration started because I graduated from a printmaking degree, and then I didn't have a printing press or access to one, but my boyfriend at the time was an illustrator and designer, and Adobe Illustrator had just come out, a beta version. He's like, you should try this. And then I was hooked. So I've been using it since it came out, basically. And I loved it. And I still draw with the mouse. I can't. I have a tablet. I try really hard to switch over, but it's really difficult. But it just took off. And I've been drawing little cartoons and stuff my whole life. And oh, this is amazing. And I can just get this all onto a screen. And anyway, I learned HTML. I don't know if anyone remembers Aquint Partners. They're this like temp agency, and they said, we'll teach you HTML for free in a 2-week crash course if you promise to work for 6 months for one of our companies. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take a job. So they sent a bunch of us out to Boston. We learned it, came back. That was a really nice freebie, I think. And from there, I basically just started making my own website and showing what I could do, doing mostly animation, because that's what I really thought I wanted to do. But then Willamette Week called, and this was a long time ago. This is when I was still working at the Yellow Pages. I worked at the Yellow Pages making ads for a long 5 years. So, but I think in that I learned efficiency and how to work very quickly and to the point. But that's my train of thought. Yeah, what was that? Oh, well, Emily, thank you. They called about doing some illustration work, and it was something about birds. I remember that, obviously, and that became my thing. But I was also taking an encaustic painting class at the time, because I'm continually taking classes to just do something different with my hands and to think differently about how to build things. And I thought, well, I'll apply this encaustic, knowledge and collage mixed media to this illustration I have to do. So I ended up doing the illustration, but they ended up not using it. So, but I was like, well, these are kind of cute, and people liked them, so I started making a website and trying to sell them online. And at first, it just sold to friends and such, and then it took off as for 12 years. I basically made those little bird paintings and the bird motifs, and it's finally kind of died off when the put a bird on it thing came out. That was kind of the demise, but I was actually ready to do something else. But so it wasn't so bad. It was a good move on. Let's just move on and find something else and just really focus on illustration in other realms. Yeah, so I don't know where to go with this, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with this. So as an illustrator, I don't have work full-time always. I have pretty big projects that come in randomly, but I do have my down days, and in those down days, I still want to be making something, and I also want to supplement my income just in case those jobs don't come in, because it's getting harder and harder, and there's a lot more illustrators out there, as you all know, and there's a lot of similar styles and stuff, and you have to figure out a way to stick out from the crowd. But supplementing with just making and selling items of your own, like through Etsy, thank goodness for Etsy. They've pretty much saved my life a million times now over. Just go ahead and set up a shop and sell. If things don't sell right away, just wait and just keep holding it there. And if something really doesn't work, just keep trying, you know. What am I gonna say? Okay, and I don't know how many people are thinking about freelancing or going into a design studio or such. I think it's really difficult if you go straight into freelancing unless you've already got some good clients set up, especially fresh out of school. And working in a office environment in a design shop is really going to give you a feel of the flow of how things work business-wise. So I highly suggest at least doing it for a little while, even though unless you've got the savvy, because, you know, Lord knows we had to learn the hard way, like just figuring it out on our own, or calling designers we kind of befriended who were a little older than us going, hey, so what do I do about this or that, and bothering them. But, oh, by the way, you can totally do that to me, because I did it to so many people. My business cards are back there, my email's there. Just shoot me an email if you have any questions about anything, especially how to price projects. That's such a tough one. I have guidance, but I can't say charge this much, but it helps to have someone out there who can help guide you along the way. There's that Graphic Artists Guild handbook that has kind of vague pricing suggestions, and it helps a little bit, but it helps to just talk to someone who's in it. Okay. And this goes this goes with the freelance and design shop. Even if you're working 9 to 5 in a shop somewhere, you're still going to want a space at home that you really love, or a favorite coffee shop that you can go to do some work in. That's really going to just keep you from distractions and just sit down and doodle every day, which is this next one. Ben Mason's a friend of mine. He's not like a love interest or anything. We were sitting in the recording studio while he was recording, so that just came out. So yeah, just doodle daily, and that's what happens when I doodle. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm popping all over the place here, but if you guys have any questions about something I'm talking about, we're supposed to save them to the end, aren't we? Just write it down. All right. And then we'll get to it later. Here's a big one. Don't be intimidated by your peers. I drew all these in paper 53 on the iPad with my finger really quickly yesterday. I love it. That's a good doodler. Don't be intimidated, be inspired. I know a lot of us go to Instagram, me too, and you'll see someone's work and you're like, oh, it's so good. I could never be that good. You know, I do that every day. But instead, we should be inspired by that. Yeah, and you just have to remember that they're also in the same boat as you, and they're just simply sharing their work and they're proud of it. But the bonus of seeing this is you get to take away the feeling you got from seeing it, and that gets stored in your brain. It will come forth in a brilliant idea one day, I promise you. Even though you'll probably forget it the next day, it'll just one day you'll be like, oh yeah, well I can make an alteration of that, or this, this cleverness would apply to something I'm doing. Okay, finding your style. I have a few. I find that just for me, different mediums evoke different moods. So I just tend to go with whatever I think is gonna play. Like obviously the bottom one is more whimsical and the top one is a little more realistic and serious, and their album cover and like a spot illustration. But they do evoke different moods completely. And see, I have a lot of different styles. Don't be afraid to be that person. It has really gotten me a lot of jobs in the past, being able to have these different styles and show all these different things. it's nice. If you have the one style though, and it's good, that's awesome. So I sometimes wish I could be that person. So I really do. Okay, let's see. But even as you're doing all those, you want to keep it simple. This is my favorite logo I ever did, and it didn't get picked. They went with a text logo instead, which is fine. But it was for a place called the Wheelhouse, which is a cheese shop in LA. And I just loved it so much. And simplicity comes from just like drawing. And like I found I used to do really detailed things, and over the years it has just come down to just make it this one quick. I mean, because you're just communicating with images, and you just need to get it across and like immediately. And you do that with obviously with a simple shape, but also like simple color, like monochromatic. There's so many different elements. It of course all depends on what you're going for and what you're about to make. And cleverness will get you everywhere. If you're like looking online or on Instagram and you see something that's just so smart, and it's like, you know, print it out, store it away, throw it in a little inspiration book, because those are good lessons to learn. And that goes back to the, I wish I had thought of that. You can put those in the same book. And I was reading, I forget the name of her, the editor for the Google page, the front Google page, about keeping it so simple and clean. And she was talking about how it's like a Swiss Army knife. It's got everything you need in it. It's all perfect and simple, but and illustrations that are all crazy and cluttered are like the Swiss Army knife open. So I just thought that was a really good visual, being a visual person. I have a few rules about my art. I don't know if, I know that Draplin has like all radius corners, there's no sharp corners and stuff like that. And I have little rules too, like while I'm drawing, like I do everything in 2s, 3s, 5s, 6s, or 7s, never 4. It's a numerology thing, sort of, but I don't know. It's just this thing that I do. An odd number is always, there's something, that's the balance there too. My birthday's May 4th, but yeah. It's in the 5th month, so that cancels it out. And that should say networking. Yeah, this is really important. As a freelancer, I'm alone a lot. And it's, you know, I leave and I go out to First Thursday and I meet with other peers and stuff that we don't want to talk about work. No one wants to talk about what they're doing usually, except to complain about something. But it's really important to get out there and, you know, meet with other people. Like there's Drink and Draw out there. There's what, First Thursday? Who's got some more? Do you have any?
The Lettering Collective.
Oh yeah, the Lettering Collective, Letter PDX, right? That's pretty great. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have anything here on campus that you do on your own time, like getting out somewhere. I'm forgetting that not everyone here might be over 21 too. But or you go to a coffee shop and do the same thing. But get out there and, you know, all like pick a topic, something to draw, and just draw it and see what you all come up with. And you feed off of each other that way. It's really fun. And I know that online there's a lot like the sketchbook project and things like that you can contribute to. There's tons of that stuff. You just gotta find it and just be willing to do that for yourself, you know? Love what you do. It's really important. It really is. This is your life. I know a lot of people say, you know, they love drawing, and then when it became their job, they started to hate it. Not hate it, that's a strong word. But it's really important to just keep that fresh for yourself. and that's by doing the drawing and stuff on the side on your own. It's just really important. I love what I do a lot. I got a good project this morning that I'm really excited about, and it just comes random like that. And when the client sounds really excited about it, it gets you excited about it too. And I'm really looking forward to all the next ones. Okay, where are we at here? Do you guys want to talk about working with clients or anything like that? Or I could go, I don't know if you do. I could also go and show what I do. I could just show my website too here and go through some projects. Let's see. How do I get on here? Uh-oh. There we go. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
The command tab.
Oh. Sorry, guys. It's not as savvy as you all. Okay. Okay. How do I center this so it's all?
You can go view full screen. The view.
Thank you. Oh, so squishy. All right. I decided to go ahead and make a portfolio website through Behance Network. Since I'm already paying for my Adobe program subscription, I might as well get the free website out of it, right? And it's a really nice site, and I'm getting work through it, which is really nice, and new clients and new work that is really fun. Via was through that, Boston Market, this is local. But I really suggest doing that if, unless you're web savvy, as most of you are, you can build your own beautiful site. Let's talk about this. This is for Via Magazine. It's AAA's magazine, and they actually just wanted, it was just an article, London versus Paris. If you had to choose one city to travel to, that's it. And this is an article about why you would choose one over the other. And like they wanted, so I have this Gatesman here, and the French chef kind of, they were like, make them glaring at each other, but not too mean. You're like, okay. So I've changed their eyebrows and quite a bit. So, and their mouth line, the simple little mouth line. Little things like that. I got to do type for this one too. That was really nice. Drawing the landmarks was really fun. And because I did this job, the call I got this morning, I don't know if I can say what I got, but it's for a map. It's a map project for a publishing house. And because of this job and posting it on this website on Behance, they found it. They found me and called me for this other project because this was the style they were looking for. So, the minute you finish a project, even if it's a personal one, like this guy here, this was a poster for the Ziggy Stardust show that was here. My little Bigfoot. I don't know why I do Bigfoot. I just thought it'd be funny. But I like to throw humor and everything. Just throw it up on your site because you never know. It's really important to show all the things that you can do. I want to talk about, I have an ongoing project with Seattle Children's Hospital. They hired me about 5 years ago now. It's a 10-year project, which is a dream illustration job and a very rewarding one. They added a wing to the Children's Hospital, Seattle Children's Hospital, and the wing is called Building Hope. And I'm doing all of the illustrations on here. This is the emergency room, emergency department. And it's all these curved hallways, and each door is different. The imagery, the trees are flipped, so it just looks like a big forest as you walk in. It's not scary for the kids, it's not intimidating at all. And inside, I fought really hard for this. I wanted to put things on the ceiling because kids get wheeled in and they're looking up, and you know, instead of having to just strain around to look for things, and we got it. so that was a nice win. Yeah, all of this, and this goes all back to, I worked at a vinyl sign shop in college, and also like at the Union building, doing all the signage around campus. And also I worked in a vinyl sign shop off campus for this guy, Tom, who did all these race car graphics for people. So I did all the graphics for Dick Trickle, that's his name, the race car driver for real. He died last year, which is sad, but like we used to sit and watch the races because he crashed a lot. And I'd sit in the shop and watch, and then I'd see him hit a wall, and I'd know I'd have to go work on the left panel of the car or something, redo it. But all that vinyl knowledge kind of helped land me this job because I knew how to set up work for vinyl and for getting it all cut out, and that helped a lot. The vinyl vendors that the hospital was using to cut everything out were very happy that they didn't have to explain how to do everything and how to set everything up. And it's very precise. Everything is down to the millimeter. The glass sizes, I mean, if I'm 1 or 2 millimeters off, I have to redo it, like reset up everything. So this project was a bit of a challenging beginning, but I like that. Because I had to answer to like 16 people, had to approve a drawing and where we were going with it. And finally landing on what direction we were going to go into was so nice. And we knew that it was going to be forest themed for this section of the hospital. So these are all the patient doors. I just did different, for each floor there's a different kind of tree depending on the height of it. So there's a lot of thought that goes into this, and the forest creatures are very simple. There's of course a lot of birds, had to throw those in there. But this also had to be something that was going to be friendly to not only little kids, but also teenagers, because there is a teenage cancer ward in this hospital, and the families, the parents and such. And there's some of these kids stay there for like years. So this is their home. And so you want to give them something that has some kind of movement that looks like it might be fresh every day. Another purpose for using the vinyl, this is the first LEED certified children's hospital. So ZGF Architects built it. And so there's a lot of glass, and that's why the vinyl was implemented. And the vinyl serves many purposes for imagery, for one, privacy, like certain levels of privacy. As you can see here, there's some thinner layers. There's different opacities of translucent vinyl. But it also needed to let natural light in because there wasn't a lot of harsh fluorescent lights. And like maybe there was going to be a garbage can down here, so they wanted to have more graphics to cover that from the outside. So a lot of that stuff had to go into the thought process. And these doors, when they slide open, is it going to look funny when the trunk is over on top of the other branch, or is it going to look like a nice canopy? So it was a very challenging, but I love it, and I want more hospital jobs. It's really fun. These were all the bathroom doors. They did something very clever where the bathrooms, let me see if I can find an image of it. Yeah, there's the emergency area. There in the corner here, the bathrooms, the doors come apart diagonally, so you can actually get a wheelchair or a gurney in there. I just think the whole thing's very brilliant. And the kids can change the color of the LED light up here in their rooms, so they have a little control over everything. Here it is in green. But this is the project that's pretty much been taking over my life but I don't mind that. Let's see. I do a lot of work for a lot of local companies and a lot of food companies like Cheese Bar and Pix Patisserie. And I do a lot of that work for trade or partial trade, which I highly suggest if you're a starving student, because you got to eat anyway. I also did work for Whole Foods and asked for half of it in a Whole Foods gift certificate. And that was, you know, like, I gotta go grocery shopping anyway. It's good for them and it's good for you, I think, unless you really need the money, then just take it. But, you know, but it helps improve your relationship with your client as well if you're open to suggestion. Let's see. Yeah, Plant at Portland. I think you guys have seen that around and such. Let's see. I'm wondering if anyone has any questions. That's what I thrive on. Because I can just keep going on tangents here. But
I'll ask you a question.
sure.
In regards to that hospital project, did you know from the beginning that it was going to be such a long-term project, or? Kind
of. They mentioned it. They said, yeah, it could be 10 years, but they laughed. So I laughed. And then I really, you know, as when year 3 came, I was like, wow, it might be that, because we're doing like a floor a year or 2 floors a year. So I'm like, oh, it's really turning out that way. And I can only draw so many different trees, but I'm figuring it out as we go. But yeah, it's such a great, it's a really great project. I can't complain. Yeah, anymore. Oh, way in the back.
When you're practicing Harajuku, are you trying to clear your mind, or are you looking for inspiration?
Both. Clearing your mind and getting inspiration at the same time, I think. Sometimes I'll bring my sketchbook with me and like just do little sketches of little branches or leaves or things. I like to hike first thing in the morning and be the first person on the trail. So I see a lot of animals that you don't normally see during the day, like the little pikas and once a mountain lion. But and that's just here in the Gorge. But lately I've been like I'll do little creative things while I'm there too. Of course, at first the sunrise, you know, that really clears the mind and everything. And it's like, wow, makes you feel small and that your problems aren't so big. But lately I've been taking these macro videos of slugs. It sounds weird, but it's kind of cool. If you put a camera down on the ground in front of a slug, it sees this reflection and just slowly turns towards itself and comes at the camera lens. It sounds weird, but it's kind of beautiful at the same time because they're so slow. And if the sunlight's hitting it, it's I like slugs. Yeah, and yeah.
I was wondering how in the beginning you worked through the intimidation of the business. I know that you said that you were in it pretty early on, and coming from school, I feel very intimidated by it all. So I was wondering how you worked through it.
I think my first big moment was I went to one of the first icon illustration conferences back when it was more about illustration. But all the illustrators I idoled at the time were there, like Brad Holland. I don't even know if you guys know who Brad Holland is. Gary Baseman was just kind of getting up, and Anita Coombs. A lot of the, you know, they had the whole cleverness thing down too, and it was just wow. But they were all just in this room with us, and we were sitting in a lobby, and they came over and they're like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, we're telling ghost stories. I mean, it was epic. And then everyone just started hanging out, and Brad Holland brought us drinks, and it was amazing. And I suddenly realized that they're just people too, you know. And all of a sudden I got this like, well, I can just try. And I brought this postcard that was I had painted a piece of bread standing on a stick of butter, And on the back I said, "This is my bread and butter." And, you know, so, and some people thought that was clever. So I thought, I'm like, well, that's good. But, you know, getting over that is hard. I mean, I'm still intimidated, but you just have to know that what you're doing is good too, especially if you like it and friends like it, then, you know, you got that going for you. So someone might feel the same way about you, you know, about your work. So you can carry that in your pocket.
Thank you.
Yeah. More? I know I rambled all over the place. I could talk for a long time, but
What's the most challenging part of your career?
the challenging part, procrastination. That's hard. Although I read that it's actually good. Because when I'm out in the woods, I'm also thinking about, like, towards the end when I'm heading back to the car, a lot of ideas pop into my head for something to draw or what I could do. Yeah, I had an idea a while back of opening a design firm or an illustration firm called the Procrastinartist. And then on the contract, you have to say due date and actual due date. But yeah, that's the hard part. And there's time to do it all. I just have to manage it well, you know, as we all do. And you learn that over time. But there's always time. I mean, think about how long you're on your phone or doing email or playing a game. It's really, I always have a laptop or something near me when I'm watching TV, usually on my own, and I'm always doodling or something while that's going on, just so I don't feel like I'm wasting time. Because life is short, you know, you just gotta take it. And if you're gonna work for yourself, you've got to do that. You really gotta take the bull by the horns and get some work done. And look and see what everyone else is doing. You're not copying them, you're just learning from them and being inspired by them. And don't draw what they do, of course. That's another reason, I'm tangent again. Another reason the bird motif kind of went away is because it got to the point where more imagery was being stolen for products and such than I was being paid for. So I was like, well, I'll just stop doing it. Which, you know, is good and bad. I still get calls for commissions and such for paintings and for illustration projects, which is really nice. But yeah, you just have to stick up for yourself. I know I always tell people, you just be nice and work with your clients really well and everything, but you also got to stand up for yourself and not let anyone take advantage of you. And that's something that all just comes from experience. Or you just call me and I'll say, well, I'll never tell you to hurt anyone. I have been known to go to someone's, this is back of the day, sit in someone's office and wait until they gave me a check if they were very late with it. But that's just sticking up for yourself. And I mean, you deserve it. They get paid. You should too. It happens, but it happens less and less. So with today's lovely internet invoicing we have. So any more questions? Hi.
Did you start your career here in town?
I did.
Yeah.
I moved here 18 years ago. Before that, I was working at the Onion in Madison for a while, doing paste up with like halftone, codolith, and all that. If anyone knows them, rubelith, laying out. That's back when it was just a newspaper in Madison, and the big change was that it was going to be a newspaper in Milwaukee. Wow! And now look at it. But that was really fun. I came here with that knowledge, and plus the illustrator knowledge and such. And I moved here. I came from Midwest, which everything's very competitive. And I got here and went to an AIGA meeting, so I'm like, I don't know anyone or anything. And I introduced myself, and about 3 people after the meeting offered me their pro bono jobs that they didn't want to take. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? And one of them was this for Portland flood relief benefit in 1996 when we had the huge flood, if you guys are from around here. So I made this logo for them for a t-shirt, and I ended up being like meeting Vera Katz, the mayor, and being on some TV show about it. And I was like, this is so bizarre. This place is awesome. Is it always like this? And yeah, and then I did a lot of pro bono work to start. But then I got the job at the Yellow Pages, which was out in Tigard. And I was there for a long time. And then finally, I was doing some work on the side, the illustration work. And my boss, best boss I'll ever have, said, if you don't quit this job, and do your own thing, I'm gonna fire you. So I thought about it, and then I went in and gave her my 2 weeks notice, and that's the best thing I ever did. So, and that's where the determination came in to make that rent payment. But that was also the time the Willamette Week thing happened with the birds and the acoustics. So it was just really good timing. So yeah, it was here. This community here is amazing.
Has it like changed at all, or do you think it's been pretty steady?
It's pretty steady. I still have people calling saying, hey, do you want this job? I don't have time for it, or I think you could do this. And I do the same too. Like I'll say, hey, I can't do this, but we kind of have similar styles, so you should call them. Or I'll give people's names to, clients I call all the time. And so like Adobe, I'm doing a little work for Adobe right now too, and beta testing, which is fun. But I'm always like, oh, you should call this person or that person or that person. So, because doing projects sounds really fun and lucrative, but it's a good company. Yeah, this is a good. You're surrounded by awesome illustrators and artists here and designers in the best spot. So, just take advantage of it and add to the pool.
So would you say you, like what you were talking about, like dishing other people's names out, if you feel like you don't have the time for a project or couldn't take it on at that time, is that what you tend to do, or do you ever run into situations like that?
Well, I try to take it if I can, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just feel like you have too much on your plate or is that?
Yeah, sometimes when with the hospital work, when it's crunch time,
Exactly.
I'll just be like, I can't right now. I'll say, if you can wait a week or 2 weeks, because I always get calls for jobs that people need like yesterday.
Yeah.
I think I work really fast, and I think that's gotten out. So people are always calling me for last minute stuff, which is nice, and I can usually do it, but I also wish, gosh. But yeah, it's just, I never know what's going to happen each day. Which is a good and scary way to live. So, which is why supplementing with something else is always good. Selling your own wares. So, does anyone here sell prints or anything on the internet? Sell their own work yet? I see a couple. Jason. Yeah. It's good. I mean, it's a nice little extra bit to get. And I always make like my digital prints. Let me give you some tips. I just get a really good printer, Epson printer, and I just make prints to order. I know a lot of people will make like, I'm going to do a series of 100 prints and just print them all out. Don't do that. You don't know if they're all going to sell. Just print out one or a couple, and so I just print them, I sign them, I package them, and I mail them. And I always flat pack everything. I think I get rolled small prints and it drives me crazy because it's hard to unroll. So I flat pack everything. Yeah, so there should be like a Etsy class. Is there a business class for artists or designers here? Do they have that, or is it something you have to take with the business school?
So.
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's worth it.
There's like an internship class coming up that kind of talks about working within a studio, and
Right.
so there are classes kind of like that.
Right. Okay, that's cool. We didn't have that when we were younger. It's all trial and error. But
How does some of your like pricing work when you're working with like a client, like the hospital that goes over multiple years? Like, is there a deposit? Is there like certain pay periods where like you get a check after a certain amount of work or something?
yeah, what we decided to do, I work on a per project basis. If I did hourly, I wouldn't make any money because I work really fast. Unless I charge this crazy, insane hourly rate. With the hospital, it was really interesting because I knew it's gonna be there forever, you know, the work. So you have to take that into consideration, and we're also using the imagery on other things like coloring books or advertising, things like that. So there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration. I get 50% down and then 50% at the end of that grouping. We always write down in a proposal what exactly is expected of me over the next 6 to 12 months and vice versa. And I've actually had to issue them a kill fee once just because it didn't end in the amount of time, but it's all fine. It's all good. Start up again with a new project. But yeah, that was a really tough thing. My biggest pricing dilemma was with Target when I got called for doing the holiday campaign. I had no idea what to charge. That was a big deal. All I know is that Tord Bunja had done it, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, the year before. I'm like, well, I wonder what he gets. I can't call him and ask, you know. So I actually just called Target and asked for the human resources department and talked to somebody there and said, I have no idea what to charge for this. Can we talk about it? And we did, and she gave me a number, and it was great. And it was more than I was thinking. So it sometimes works out in your favor to just reach out. That's another thing with clients. When you talk about the project first and then money comes up, you got to talk about money, try to do that right away or when you get home and send a proposal email. But ask them, if they ask you like, how much do you think this would cost you to do this for us? You just say, well, what is your budget? And hopefully, in the best scenario, they tell you what their budget is. But a lot of times they'll just say, well, we just want to know what your rate is. And then right away that sends up a little flag telling me that they probably have a good budget, but they don't want to pay a lot for it. And they're hoping that, we're all nice illustrators. We don't charge too much because we're afraid of losing the job and such. Just, put a price up there, what you think you're worth, and they'll either take it or they won't. And if you don't get it because of that, because you were underbid or something, don't worry about it. Move on. Something else will come along. And it wasn't meant to be. Because you want to work with people that you like and admire. And if from that first moment, they're going to try to undermine you a little bit, just to try to pay you a little less, and get more out of you for less, that right away is, I don't know, not cool. But it's never really there. I'm sure that's not everyone's major intention, but it's just something. It goes back to sticking up for yourself and asking for what you're worth. So and don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid of them saying no and saying that was more than we thought. And then if they do say that, they'll say, well, let's talk about it, or it's negotiable. When I send out proposals where I have to guess what their budget might be or something, I always at the bottom say, this price is negotiable depending on what your budget is. So I kind of put it back into their ballpark to keep a conversation going about it and not like a dead. But that's me. That's how I work. I know there's a lot of houses out there that have these set prices, and that's great. More power to them. But any more? It's sunny outside too, everyone look. But, okay, well, I think that's pretty much it. So, if no one has anything else, do I stick good to time?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Time by that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that.
Yeah, go take stuff.